Welcome to this week's episode of the CC Mouse podcast.
There's our intro.
I am Dan. You can find me at RFS Dan.
And I'm Jess, and you can find me at Snow Dogs Vlogs.
Hooray.
Yay!
So, episode 3, we've made it. This is the most I've ever gone on a podcast.
Me too, considering I've never done one before.
Right? This is fun and exciting. And again, thank you for everybody who downloaded and listened to us. We got some good feedback. Yeah,
we really do appreciate the feedback that you guys are giving us and the questions and stuff you've been leaving in the group. And we do have a direct website. What is it? ccmousepodcast.com, where you can find the link to the group and the link to some of our social media sites. And of course, the podcast, so you can hear what we're talking about.
Yeah.
How are you going to hear it?
Your ears make us smile.
That needs to be a shirt.
I don't know. I'm okay with that.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
We're recording this on a Thursday. It's going to go up next Wednesday, but we're recording it Thursday. Today is actually February 7th, 2019. I think that might be the first time I've said 2019 out loud.
Really?
Yeah.
A whole month and a week into it, and that's the first time you said it?
Yeah, I don't interact much.
You're like, I don't want to say what year it is because then I'll know what year it is. You have no idea, but I'm going to ask you anyway to guess. Do you have any idea what the significance of this date is that pertains to my life?
It's like this day, like in a certain year.
This day in a certain year pertains to my life. It's not like a national holiday or anything crazy like that. I'm not trying. It actually is something that happened in Jamie and I's life on this day.
Nightmare Before Christmas came out on DVD.
No. I'll give you a hint.
Today is the day you quit the deli?
No. That was a good guess, though. That would have been a good guess.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you a hint. It was 17 years ago.
When you got your first Jeep. Oh my gosh, it's Happy Jeep Day. Yay! Happy Jeep Day. Yes.
That's a good guess, too. But that's not it either. I didn't have a Jeep. I had a Dodge Dakota pickup truck.
Oh.
Any more guesses before I tell you what today is?
No, I'm out of guesses. Let's go. I'm too excited. I need to know.
Today, 17 years ago today, was the day we got Shiloh. 17 years ago today was the day we got our very first Husky. She was 12 weeks old, and we brought her home 17 years ago today.
Dang, that's happy Husky Origin Day.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I was looking, I woke up this morning and I was looking at something and I opened up my Facebook memories and it popped up because I posted it a couple years ago on Facebook and I'm like, oh, it is. It's February 7th. And I immediately ran into the kitchen. Jamie was drinking coffee and I'm like, do you know what today is? And I do this to him all the time because, I mean, I don't want to be that stereotypical, but men don't remember dates. Like, it's just, it's not. They remember some dates, but it's not like things like this. Guys just don't remember that stuff. They just.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, I've seen all the dates before. I know what they are. Like, I don't remember them.
Yeah, I think it's very typical. It's just not that it's not important. Not that guys don't care. It's just not something that I think women's brains are just wired a little bit differently, and we remember things like this. I can't technically say I remembered it because Facebook reminded me, but I would have remembered it, I'm sure, before the end of the day. As soon as I saw the date, I would have been like, oh, I remember. It also means 17 years ago today was the first day I ever bought a digital camera. I bought my first digital camera the same day we bought the dog because you can't get a puppy and not be able to take pictures of it.
Right.
So we were living in Arizona. We got this dog. She was 12 weeks old. Got the camera so we could take pictures so we could send it to everybody. We were still using like ICQ to send messages back and forth to each other. Yeah, it was 17 years ago. You could say 17 years ago today was the beginning of what Gone to the Snow Dogs has turned into.
Dang. Well, happy Husky Origin Day.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Wow, 17 years. That's a long time.
That's also how long Jamie and I will have been married this September. I'll always remember how long ago it was that we got Shiloh because we got her the same year we got married. So I'll always know how long it's been that we've owned a Husky. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so in 17 years, we've had now 4, right? Yeah, 4 Huskies.
That doesn't sound like a good enough ratio. If you asked me like in 17 years, how many dogs? 5, 6, a handful, half a dozen.
Shiloh was 11 when she passed away. So, I mean, and Oakley was 14, but we only had Oakley for 6 years because we adopted her. But yeah, Oakley was 14. Shiloh was only 11. Shiloh was young for a Husky. Husky's average life expectancy is 12 to 15 years. So She was young, but she was, I mean, I don't know if everybody that's listening to this has actually read her story, but if you go to goneToTheSnowDogs.com, or if you go to the dog's YouTube page, youtube.com/goneToTheSnowDogs, I actually have Shiloh's full story on there, like from when we got her and all of the issues she had and the issues she had her whole life. She was a project pup, that's for sure.
But she was the only pup for a while then.
She was. We had only Shiloh until she was 5 years old. And the only reason we ended up getting Shelby was because Shiloh almost died. She had, long story short, she had a really bad infection that there wasn't a surgery they could do to fix her. It was, here's this $200 medicine that we had to give her for 5 days. And the vet was like, if this works, great. If it doesn't, there's not really anything else we can do. So we came home thinking, this is it. She's going to die. She's only 5 years old. She had health issues her whole life. And when she pulled through, Jamie looked at me and said, we have to get another dog. Because if something happens to her and we don't have another dog, I'm not going to be able to handle this.
That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense. And it was only a couple weeks after she, had recovered that we ended up, saw an ad in the paper and went and looked at puppies, and then boom, now we got another dog. That was when we got Shelby. So
I couldn't imagine you now not having more than one dog.
It's really, I feel that way now with only having two. Like, it feels strange that we only have two, because for the past 7 years, we've had three.
Yes.
For the first few years, we did only have two. We just had Shiloh and Shelby. And then it was like, then we got Oakley. And then when Shiloh passed away, we got Memphis not long after. It was like, I feel really weird now having two and not three. I can't even imagine what life would be like, again, only having one. It just wouldn't be right. I feel like it's not right only having two. It's just the balance is off. It's weird.
Yeah, and that pattern you just gave me tells me that you need another puppy.
Well, three's a pretty good number. I know it's going to happen. I know it. When the time is right, it will happen. And I think that's just what it'll be. When the time is right, it'll happen. We got really lucky with Memphis because right after Shiloh passed away, we went to that sled dog race, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. Everything fell in place. You want on this list for this puppy? Here, you're on this list for this puppy. We didn't really have to do anything. There was no reaching out to a bunch of people. We did still look for a rescue, even though we knew we were getting Memphis, because we kind of convinced ourselves that, well, we could do 4. What's one more? I don't know that we could do 4. That's a lot of dog.
4 is a full-time job.
4,
like a fuller-time job.
It is, and 4 is hard with like the size of my car.
Yes.
Fitting 3 in there was if the Grand Wagoneer comes out like it's supposed to, possibly, I just can't imagine driving a Jeep that big though. It's supposed to be huge. It could be like driving a Chevy Tahoe.
You can't drive something called the Grand Wagoneer. That's such a stupid name. You have to name it something else. But see, that's why I like cats. Like, all our cats just come to the door, and they literally just come to our door and it's like, hey, and we're just like, oh, come in.
I think they both have their place. I really do. Like, I always joke and say I don't like cats. I don't like cats as my own cats. I love other people's cats. Like, when I go to our local pet store, I always pick up Levi and walk around with him. And Borange comes and sees me every time. They have an orange cat, and they named him Borange. I don't know where the name came from, but his name is Borange.
I'm okay with that kind of.
The cats, like, when I get to that store, it's almost like they know it's me, and they're like, oh, it's that lady that's going to pick us up and carry us around the store. And I always do. And when I go to Greg's house, like, I always play with his cats. I like everybody else's cats. I'm just not a cat person.
You imagine how different your channel would be if you did cats.
Oh my God.
You would just be the crazy cat lady. It's weird how there's a line like, oh, look at the dogs and this is awesome and look at them go. But if you had that in cats, you'd be like, oh, look, she's the crazy cat lady.
And why is that? Like, what is
It'd be Lint Roller Tuesdays and Catnip Fridays. I don't know. There's just something different. Like, I love the cats, and like Rizzo's really pretty and stuff. And Rizzo's as close as I can get to a husky because she's really soft. But there's just something about the dogs, like your dogs, like they're like just, I don't know, just something about them that makes it just different than the cats.
I think it has a lot to do with personality. I think that animals in general, and anybody that tells you differently is wrong. Animals in general do have their own personalities. It's not like every cat is the same and every dog is the same. They all do have an individual personality and attitude. And I feel like, but with cats, more of them are more of that. Cats tend to have more of an uppity personality. Not all cats, but a bigger percentage of cats than dogs, where dogs, a bigger percentage have that, like, I'm happy to see you and this is the greatest thing ever, and throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. Like, they just have that more, I don't know, playful personality.
Well, cats are very independent.
Yes.
The cat doesn't want to go outside. I know there's exceptions. I know there's cats out there that act like dogs and run around. But yeah, like, my cats don't want to, like, do anything on command. They don't want to go run around and have fun. They don't want to go on an adventure. It's not always the greatest thing. They're just kind of like indifferent, just meh.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get that.
And I mean, realistically, I've had Huskies for 17 years, and Huskies, when they get older, act like that. It's like they could just take it. Even Memphis, I've noticed, she'll be 6 years old. Memphis is going to be 6 in April. Yeah, right? She's going to be 6. Cool. And I've noticed even with her, Huskies usually mature right around that 6 to 7 year old mark, where they kind of go from what you've known their whole life to almost a completely different being.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Well, Memphis used to be really playful and, like, she was just, everything was great and everything. And now she's kind of switching over to that more of that diva, like Shelby attitude. Like, I could take it or leave it. She still really wants to cuddle with you. She wants to be close. She wants to be cuddled, but you get out a toy and play with her, and she's just like, meh, I don't really want to play with that right now. Like, it's just, can we just sit here and cuddle? So very cat.
I feel like Mooch the cat is the same thing.
Yeah.
He used to be playful and run around, and now he's just indifferent and doesn't care.
I think it happens when they get older.
I think so. I mean, that's happened to me. Like, I don't want to go out and do anything anymore.
We're just like, do we have to leave? Do I have to get dressed? I could just live in my pajamas all day.
Just be a pajama person.
Yeah, can't I just do that? Like, it'd be so easy.
So do you have any of these pictures off of this original digital camera that you purchased on the same day that you got Shiloh? Like, there's got to be, I'm sure you filled up the memory cards with pictures of her. So where are those pictures at?
I do actually have them. They're all on my external hard drive. I have all of the photos. I believe they're all dated February 8th. I think we got that camera that night, and the next morning was when we really started, like, taking pictures and doing lots of things. But I have pictures of her at our house in Arizona, hiding underneath the coffee table. She was terrified. She was the most scared. Just, it was such a horrible thing. She was sick. She had green stuff coming out of her nose and her rear end, and it was bad. She was a sick dog. And they were gonna put her down, which is why we ended up getting her. But yeah, I have pictures of her in Arizona hiding underneath the coffee table. I have a picture of her with Pepto-Bismol all over her lips because the vet told us to give it to her to try to help her stomach. And we tried to give her Pepto, and she's got these bright pink lips.
I think I have a picture of me somewhere with Pepto-Bismol all over my lips too, so I get it. But if you get a chance, find one that's like when she's like happy off of that camera and let us see it, since it's like it's Husky Origin Day.
I will. I have to post it. Should I post it today or should I wait till the podcast goes up?
You might as well wait till the podcast goes up, and then from now on we should celebrate this day. Like, there should be some remembrance on this day. Like,
yeah, I mean, I am going to post on the dog's Instagram, like when this is. I didn't want to post it before we started podcasting because I didn't want you to figure it out.
I would have never guessed in a million years.
I know. That's why I was excited. I'm like, he's not going to have it.
It was Jeep Origin Day. I had a 50-50 shot.
That is a pretty good guess. I didn't get a Jeep until after we moved back to Michigan. The truck we had in Arizona, we moved back to Michigan with, and then we bought the Jeep. I don't remember what year it was. We lived in the house on First, so it had to be, I'm not sure what year it was. I can find out. I'm sure I have a picture of the Jeep from the day we brought it home, and it was black. It was a black 98 Jeep Grand Cherokee Special Edition. I remember it was a first not truck I ever bought. I'd always had a truck before that. And then for some reason, I don't even know why we decided to go with an SUV over a truck. I think it just made sense.
It's warmer inside.
I think that's what it was. Like, we didn't haul a lot of stuff. We didn't really have a need for a truck. There was more room inside. We had the dog. It just made more sense because we bought that. And we sold Greg our truck. I was like, oh, we'll just sell you our truck and we'll buy this Jeep.
I remember when I got my first Jeep. I remember it like it was last year.
That's because it was last year.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You're right. It was last year, and I love it. I love the gas sucker gutless Jeep.
Yeah, you did buy a non 4-wheel drive, what is it? Got a 4-cylinder in it?
Oh, yeah.
It's still, but for where you live, it's a good vehicle.
Yeah. Now all I'm missing is my Husky, and then I have my Gone to the Snow Dogs kit.
There you go.
I already have the Jeep.
I'm surprised how many people I've talked to over the years that have bought Jeeps because Joel has one. Our friend Joel, he bought a Jeep. You bought one.
I bought one. People talk about the Jeep community, how everybody gives each other high signs and stuff. Do you wave at people that have Jeeps and stuff? I
do when I'm in Jamie's Jeep. The Jeep wave is more of a Wrangler thing. I do it when I'm in my Grand Cherokee. From time to time, I'll wave at other Grand Cherokees, like lifted Grand Cherokees. I'll wave at because I know they'll wave back. But other than that, I don't think the dealerships explain it to people when they buy vehicles. Some dealers do, some dealers don't. And I think
is there a certain wave? Like, what is the wave?
A lot of people will just, like do a regular wave. Jamie tends to put up, 2 fingers as a peace sign.
So there's no specific wave. There's not like holding up like 4 fingers straight up and down, like on the grill, like up to my face, like the face is the eyes of the light or anything.
Nope, not really. It's kind of just it kind of just symbolizes that, ride safe, stay safe. Same thing like people that ride motorcycles do the same thing.
And I like that. And I was hoping I'd get in on the Jeep community thing, but nobody waves at me. They all just keep driving. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but you also live in California. I think a lot of people there, again, I'm stereotyping your entire state. I think a lot of people there, it's just not something that's on their mind. Like, we live in a small town. I get waved at in my Grand Cherokee. I mean, Jamie always gets waved at in his Jeep. He always waves back. But we live in a small town, small community. People wave anyway.
I guess out here it's like, he's got a gun. What? I'm not pulling over. I'm not stopping. Yeah. So, okay. I guess so. I was hoping I'd get some sort of waves.
I think if you would have got a Wrangler, it would have been different.
If I'd have gotten a real Jeep.
Well, I mean, I didn't say it. You said it.
Oh.
I get picked on for the same thing. When I had my gray Grand Cherokee, we went to a Jeep trail ride thing, and I had, guys in these big lifted Jeeps that were, making fun of my Grand Cherokee because I had a stock Grand Cherokee Overland, which is the like high-end luxury of the Grand Cherokee. It comes in like a Laredo, and then there's a Limited, and then there's, all these different packages. And the Overland is like got all the chrome and all the stuff on it, which I'll never buy another Overland. I really love my Trailhawk, but I had people doing the same thing. They didn't think that Jeep would make it through anything. And I didn't get stuck. I made it through fields. I made it through mud holes that other people got stuck in with their Wranglers and their other Jeeps. And I didn't get stuck. I made it through everything. So, I can do anything. You can do better.
That's true. That should be on your next shirt. It should say like, stay positive, dream big. And on the back it should say, I can do anything. You can do better.
So how was that yesterday living in the land of the lost?
Oh, it was the land of the lost. So yesterday, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon or so, I had just put on Happy Gilmore on Netflix at work, and then the internet went out. And I was like, okay, we'll go troubleshoot it a little bit. Then I noticed my phone service was out and my phone's internet was out, and nothing was working. Nothing was working from multiple carriers. That's fine. 20, 30 minutes go by. I'm okay. 2 hours go by and I start getting a little twitchy. I'm like, that's fine. We'll just put on some Spotify. No. Okay, well, I'll just put on a movie. No, we won't put on a movie. Oh, man. It's cold outside. Let me just check no, not checking the weather. Oh, somebody wants to be run up at the register. Oh, nope, can't do anything. Everything's internet based. So I'm starting to get a little itchy. I'm starting to feel a little bit lost from technology. At this point, I don't know what happened. Like I'm learning that it's happened through multiple companies, and I feel like something major has happened.
You still haven't seen anything like in the news that's said, like, here's why everything is down.
Oh, yeah, I ended up finding the answer. But here's the thing. In order to find the answer, you need some sort of internet or something. I had no phones. The phone line didn't work. There was no phones. Nobody was calling the shop. It was dead. So I'm starting to have a little bit of a meltdown. And then we realized that the neighbor's internet, like whoever's next door to us, has a guest account. So we could log onto the guest account. And then I try to do some sort of like research or something. But in the meantime, when it was down, I had customers come in and every customer was going through different stages of withdrawal. We had the guy that came in that wasn't too good at technology and was just kind of like trying to figure out why his phone wasn't working. He was going to like go to the AT&T store or deal with it. And I'm like, dude, it's cool. Like everybody's phone's having issues. Then there was the lady who at the register, she was like trying to fumble around on her phone. And I'm like, look, the phones aren't working right now. You can't like Apple Pay or anything. Like you can't do that. She's like, oh yeah, I couldn't even get in my garage. Like my garage door opener is connected to my iPhone here and I couldn't even open it. So I had to like get out and go to the house and manually do it. I'm like, oh, that's a first world problem there. So everybody's kind of dealing with it. Then I had this older gentleman come in and he wouldn't stop telling me and showing me that on Apple Maps, my shop won't come up. I keep trying to tell him that the internet's down for everybody and he's not listening to me and is just trying to zoom in. And this old dude, oh bless his heart. This old dude sucked at technology and he didn't know how to do the pinchy out things. And then now it's taking me up the street on his maps and it's not loading or caching because the internet's down. And so it was like it was a little bit crazy trying to like write things down. I felt like I was like on one of the episodes of like some Dr. Quinn medicine woman where I live in some Western town and I had to tally up everything on a piece of paper, by hand.
I think it's crazy. I think you don't realize how much you rely on it until you can't use it.
100%.
I mean, I think that there's so much you use the internet for, looking things up. As crazy as it is, when we go on vacation places and we're in hotels, I can't tell you how many times I go, Alexa's not here. I can't ask Alexa. She's not here.
Yes. Yeah, it's really crazy. And you know what I noticed that happened is, so right now I'm connected to everything and everything's good. I feel like my reach is around the world. After a few hours, my reach was my hearing. Like I could, like, that's all I had was my hearing. I'm like, what's going on? Like I'd go outside and peek outside as if I knew anything was going to happen. But all of a sudden I couldn't figure out what was going on in the world. And it felt empty. It felt really, really empty.
You just feel like you're disconnected. I mean, because you really were disconnected. There was no, how do you find out anything? Did you attempt to do the, what did we do back in the day? Did you turn on the radio?
I don't. That's the thing. I don't have radio.
You don't have radio at all?
Yeah, it's digital.
Oh.
I can get the radio stations, but it goes through the dang internet.
That's hilarious.
Uh-huh. Yes. And the few stations we have on here are all mariachi music. So I would have taken it at that point. I would have taken it. So I had nothing. It was silent in the shop. It was really weird and disconnected. Apparently there's a fiber optic line that went bad or something that they were having to replace. But if it was just that line, they would have been able to, you got to kind of dig up the street to replace it. So yeah, it might be down for a while. I noticed it was all the way through here through like Los Angeles area. I'm only able to talk to you right now on the internet because that company that we use is different than AT&T and everything else that's gone down. But my phone's dead in the water. Like I can't do anything on my phone.
That's so crazy. That's just it's crazy because it's relied on so much. Like when you lose power, usually when you lose power, you still have your phone and you still can have the internet. And you're like, well, as long as I don't kill my battery on my phone, at least you can still do something. But when it's everything, it's weird. You start to, you realize how, and I'm just going to say it, you realize how addicted you are. You realize how bad you need that connection and that outreach. I mean, like even when we were younger, you couldn't call your friends that lived in a different area code because it was long distance.
Right.
Now you can call anybody. You can talk to anybody anywhere in the world, no matter what.
That trips me out a little bit.
Doesn't it?
Like, man, that's such a luxury. Like 14-year-old Dan would have loved that, knowing that when he got older, he could call anybody and not accrue charges.
Right? Those fake collect calls that you used to make to tell your parents where to pick you up at, where you wouldn't say your name, you'd fake collect call them, and you'd be like, I'm ready, come pick me up at school, okay, bye.
Yes.
You have a call from, I'm ready, come pick me up, school, okay, bye.
Yes, I would do that out of the movie theaters. I would do it at the movie theaters. Never mind, it was 20 cents for a call, literally. But nope, I would just collect call from, hi, Mom, Dad, we're out. Come pick us up, bye. Yep.
Was it the Geico commercial that did that? We had a baby, it's a boy. We had a baby, it's a boy.
Yes. And that's true. Like, I relate to that commercial because we did those things.
Yeah, people nowadays, they don't, nobody knows what not nobody, but the younger generation doesn't really know what a collect call is. They don't remember long distance calling. When we lived in Arizona, there was long distance calling. We had to try to figure out other ways. I couldn't talk to my mom every day because it cost money. And that was when we figured out how to use, like, we were using dial-up internet, but we were using voiceover on dial-up internet. It was horrible, but it worked. You couldn't even, like you and I are talking over the internet right now. You talk, I talk, we can hear each other. We had to, like, talk, send the file, wait for the file to send, wait for the file to be sent back. There wasn't a voiceover. It was, a voice over IP service. It literally was, here's my audio file. Now I got an audio file back.
Yes. And it was garbage. It took forever to send.
It did.
Yeah, but no, we really are addicted.
We are. And I think that even, we lived through that, but at the same time, I think we forget until it's gone. And then you go, how did we do this when we were little? Like, how did we talk to our friends? How did we communicate? How did we let everybody know when something was going on? Nowadays it's like, start an event on Facebook, invite everybody. Do you know how many people nowadays don't send out, like, birthday invitations and wedding invitations? Wedding invitations. They don't even send them out anymore. They just make events on Facebook or meetup events and email everybody. Like, that's not what you used to do.
Right. Do you remember back in the day, if your birthday was in the summertime, you were screwed for friends if you didn't get their addresses and phone numbers months in advance.
Yep. They didn't know.
Coming. Yeah. No one's coming to your birthday party in the middle of summer because you have no way to get a hold of your friends.
Exactly. It's crazy to think about. It really is. We had a blackout here. It was a couple years ago. It was like, I don't know if you remember, it was all over the news, like the whole state, like all a bunch of people, same thing, was like this big blackout in the middle of summer. And it was the same thing. I mean, it was a couple years ago and it was before, like, the internet was a thing, but it wasn't something we were on all the time. But it was the same thing. You start to go, how do I get a hold of anybody? 9/11. I lived in Arizona when 9/11 happened. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, but my parents lived in Michigan. I lived in Arizona. I had to try to call them because we didn't know what was going on when 9/11 first happened. All the, the Pentagon's going down and the Twin Towers are hit by an airplane and you don't know what's going on. I couldn't get a hold of my parents because all of the phone lines were tied up. There was you couldn't dial into the internet because all the phone lines were tied up. So it was kind of the same feeling where you're like, what do I do? I'm lost. I can't get a hold of anybody. What do I do?
But you saw the desperation in my voice when I had to go up in the bike room, lean up against a wall just about to connect to the guest account that was like 3 doors. It was like 2 or 3 doors down.
Right.
And I connected to it. And then I called you on the FaceTime audio just to be like, hey, like, I know we're supposed to record tomorrow, but I might be down and out. So I'll let you know what's up. But did you hear the desperation in my voice when I like made contact with you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was like I was being held hostage. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I got a human being on the other line, and I sounded like garble, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad connection, but yeah, I was telling Jamie that after you called him, like, yeah, it was crazy. He sounded scared almost.
It was a little bit. I didn't know what was going on. You're the first person I was able to talk to be like, what happened? Like, it's like, have we gone down or what's going on? Like, there was no way to get information at all. Yeah.
We definitely take that for granted, I think. I feel like it's something that we're so connected to everything. I mean, if an earthquake happens out there, we know about it in 10 seconds all over the world.
Right.
If something happens, we all know. But if you don't have that, now think about people that live where they don't have, even where we go camping at Muskellunge Lake State Park. There's no internet up there. Recently, the past couple of years, they have built another tower, and now we have a cell phone booster in our camper, so we have kind of internet. But when we're up there, we can't check the weather. We can't nobody can get a hold of us. We can't get a hold of anybody. It's a dead zone. Now, we purposely put ourselves in that situation, so it's a little bit different. We do prepare for it. But think about the people that live there. They don't have internet. They don't have a connection. They don't know what's going on in the world every single day. You can log on to any app, any news app, and you know what's going on every single day. You know what the weather is going to be like in 5 minutes. You can contact all of your friends no matter where they live within seconds.
Right.
There
But
are
we know
still
what that's like.
we do. There are still people that have no idea what that's like.
Yeah, that's that's true. Like Blake has no idea what that's like. I do.
Right?
I mean, I know the internet's been around most of my life, but it's only been accessible to us on the go for barely a handful of years.
Yeah.
You know, so before that, yeah, you would just go camping, you'd feel weird. That was a weird transition when you're addicted as you are now to your phone, but you're addicted to the computer because it hasn't gone mobile yet. So you're on the computer constantly, just like you'd be on your phone, but you're on the computer.
Yep.
Then it's time to go away for the weekend and there's no taking it with you. There's no mobile version of it. And then that's when I think you have like the most withdrawals, like, oh my gosh, like this really sucks. And then, you know, now you don't have to have those withdrawals because the phones go everywhere with you.
Yeah. And now laptops are such a thing. And
right.
Heck, even my car has internet.
That's so cool.
I mean, my car has internet. I can get on the internet in my car. I don't have the service. You have to pay for the service. I don't have it.
Right.
But I did demo it. You know, they gave us a trial or something to try to get us sucked into it. But yeah, my car has a weather app in it that works even without us having to pay for it. It has an actual weather app, and it will alert us if there's bad weather where we're at in my car.
I know. Isn't that pop-up annoying? I'm like, get it off my screen. I always get that on mine too.
It's like, we know that there's ice. We know that the weather is dangerous. We chose to live where the air hurts our face.
I know I'm in high wind areas. That's what I get. High wind areas. Yeah, no duh. I live in the valley. The valley.
It's so crazy. It's one of those things that you don't think about it. But yes, right. I did. I heard the desperation in your voice of, oh my gosh, I've contacted that. And then I think you were more freaked out because you actually, I don't know if you realized how many times you said it, but I can't get a hold of Crystal because Crystal has a phone. How am I going to get a hold of Crystal? I don't know if you realize how many times you said that, but I think that had you freaked out too.
No, I didn't, because like anything could have happened. I'm sure everything was fine. And I could have just gotten in my car and literally gone 2 miles up the street to her work. Right. But I don't know. I was just I guess I was having a freak out. I don't remember saying that at all. I remember just worried about not being able to a hold of you so we could record the podcast.
Right. Yeah. And that was the other thing you said. You were worried that because you couldn't get a hold of her because she has a phone and all the phones are down. And you kept saying that, how am I going to get a hold of her? How am I going to make sure everything's okay? And I'm going, I think everything's fine, but I don't know.
I tried to call her on the same thing as you, and it just was garble and it just hung up and didn't work. So everything's down, and I get home and the internet's okay here, but it's still down for everybody else. Even this morning, I saw that the outage looked even bigger.
Oh gosh!
At least I'm off today, so I don't have to deal with it.
Oh gosh, what are they doing at the store? Because your point of sale system works with all that, doesn't it?
Yep.
Oh, how crazy!
Yeah. Well, I hope they have an abacus. No, and that was the hard thing. I had to go online. I couldn't text Ryan, so I had to go to Instant Messenger. Right. I had to slide into his DMs,
right,
and like try to give him like procedures of like, oh, here's what you can try to do to get some sort of internet. You could try to connect to the neighbor's internet. So they'll fix it eventually. But yeah, I'm sure it's probably medieval times over there today.
And it's the same type of thing. Even those point of sale systems, we got one for the deli 3 or 4 years ago now. We got our first point of sale system. It was 4 years ago. And my brother ended up calling me the other day, and the iPad, not that we own an iPad, but ShopKeep only works on an iPad. So we had to get an iPad. Shut up. I don't want to hear it.
I'll give you a pass this time.
So anyway, the iPad died, and my brother called me and he's like, do you have an iPad? And the first thing I said was, why would I have an iPad? And he goes, oh, the iPad went out at the deli. And I'm like, oh man, you have to write everything down, and everything at the deli is connected. So everything goes into the iPad, everything, you put in your sandwich. What do you want on top of it? What do you not want on it? What do you want for a side? What do you want for a drink? All that stuff is done on the computer and then prints out on a little ticket. Right. I worked there for 12 years. We only had the point of sale system for the last year that I was there. So I'm used to writing everything down by hand. It was no big deal for me. But my brother, who's now run the deli, my brother and his wife have now run the deli for so long, they've always had the iPad. They've always had that point of sale system. They've always had that ability. And it was kind of the same thing. They're like, we have to write everything down, and this is taking so much longer, and nobody can read our handwriting. And I'm going, just go buy another iPad. So they did. They ended up having to go buy another iPad. But you realize in those moments, like, what do I do? Do you remember how to write things down?
Did you ever work in retail enough to swipe a credit card where you had to put those 3 layers of paper on top of the credit card and then take the machine and go boom, boom?
Yep.
And it would make an imprint of the credit card.
Yep. When we first opened the deli 12 years ago, well, it was more than 12 years ago now. Now the deli's been open for 15 years, 16 years, going on 16 years. So when we first opened the deli, that was how we did our credit cards. Because we didn't have, this is crazy, we didn't have the money to buy one of those swipey machines. We just didn't.
Those didn't exist for a while.
They when we had the deli, they did, but they were expensive. And back then it was like, when we opened the deli, it was one of those things you had to actually buy the equipment, where a lot of times now at the credit card companies, they give you these stupid deals where they're like, well, if you go through our processing service, we'll give you the equipment and we'll give you the receipt printers and we'll give you all this stuff. But back then it was like, no, you've got to buy this $700 piece of equipment. And we didn't have internet at the deli when we first opened. So it was you'd run the credit card and it would take up the phone line. You'd be trying to run a credit card. It'd be going through the phone and somebody would try to call in and it would disconnect the credit card.
Yeah.
How did we survive?
I don't know. And those machines are still that expensive too. They didn't get any less expensive. But yeah, that was hard. How did we survive anytime you try to call somebody but they were connected to the internet via dial up and it would just ring busy and you'd be so mad? Or
if you had internet and you had call waiting and somebody tried to call you and it would bump you off the internet.
Yes.
You were in the middle of doing something. We used to play Ultima Online MMORPG games and you'd be on and you're playing this game and somebody's trying to kill you in the game and the next thing you know you're just bounced off because somebody tried to call and you have call waiting. Do you remember there was a code you used to be able to put into your phone before you connected to the internet that would disable your call waiting?
Yeah. Do you remember when you learned some of those codes? Like, now I can call back the last person that called, or I can block somebody, or
it's like,
was it star 69? What did star 69 do? Did they call the last number that called you back? I think right away, like redial.
I think star 69 called back the number and then star 67 blocked your number.
Blocked it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what it was.
Those were powerful numbers to figure out when you're a kid.
We're aging ourselves.
I'm sorry, like nobody can relate. They're like, man, we just listened to these old people talk about living in caves. Oh man,
you guys don't have to tell us in the group if you learned anything today. I learned something today.
Oh man, should we come back to the 21st century?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, it was relevant. You were back in the Stone Age yesterday. You didn't have access to anything.
I did. I almost was trying to figure out how to make fire with sticks, but then I didn't have a YouTube video to show me how. So,
oh my gosh. Even think of that. Jamie's been doing all of this work on the bathroom, and it's the first time he's done some of this stuff. So he's been watching a lot of videos. I can't even imagine. He never would have been able to do this, what he's been doing without.
Oh, yeah.
He would have had to call somebody. He would have had to have somebody else come in and do it. I mean, well, his cousin's a contractor. My dad's a contractor. But how would he have known? He's learned so much watching those DIY videos and stuff like that. He actually did make the joke the other day. He's like, I should start one of those channels. I'm like, I cannot tell you how many times people in the comments are begging for you to have a channel where you just show people how to do stuff. And I think that's what it is. There's so many people today, they don't know how to change their oil in their car. They don't know how to do these things, simple things that everybody kind of should know. You should know how to check the air in your tires. You should know how to change a tire if you need to. But so many people don't know how, because it's not something they teach in school. You should know how to balance, not necessarily a checkbook because people don't use a checkbook, but you should know how to balance your debit card, knowing how much money. They don't teach you that stuff in school. So where are you going to learn it?
So Jamie now has a channel where he's going to teach you how to balance your checkbook and change your oil.
I really don't know if he'd know how to do that.
It'll be both. And baking. And then he can teach how to bake. I do. Even in our Facebook group for the podcast, people were talking about how much they'd love to watch Jamie make things.
I don't watch a whole lot of like DIY channels and learning how to do things like that. Like I don't really watch them, but he watches them all the time. We've been working with that epoxy resin stuff, and now he's got a couple channels that he's been watching, going, "Hey, I could do this, and I could make this, and we could do this." And I'm going, "Yeah, I don't know how to do any of it, but you do, so yeah." I mean, the podcast, I didn't know how to do any of this, and you had to teach me how to do this. And I guess it's working. Somebody tell me if it's working.
It's working. But yeah, thank you for YouTube, for always being able to look up stuff. Same with that work. Anything I can't figure out how to do on a bike, someone's got the answer for me.
Somebody's already done it. Somebody out there has done it, and we know how to do it. What would we do without the internet?
When was the last time you went to the movies? Do you guys have a movie theater in your town?
We are down to one movie theater in our town. The last time I went to the movies was when I got to go to the premiere of Alpha. The last time I went to the movies was when somebody paid me to go to the movies. We don't
play music there?
We don't. Oh no, we saw Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, okay. So they do play music there.
Yeah, we have one movie theater. It shows 3 movies at a time. The seats are horrible. The screen is horrible. The sound is horrible. It makes more sense for us to buy the DVD or rent the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever and play it at home with our own sound system and our TV. Like,
you don't like the movie experience?
I do, but it's horrible here. It's not a good experience here. We don't have a good movie experience. Like when not the first Star Wars, but the first new Star Wars came out, was it episode 7? When episode 7 came out, we all went to the movies together and we saw it here. Took my mom and dad. We all went together. It was great. It wasn't the greatest movie experience, but it was great. We had fun. I really enjoyed it. But we ended up, Jamie and I drove. This is how pathetic our town is. We drove 2.5 hours to Traverse City so we could go see it in the IMAX. We drove 2.5 hours to go watch a 2.5-hour movie to turn around and drive 2.5 hours home.
That's hardcore, but you got to see it. We waited
totally
so long for that Star Wars movie. I get it.
It was worth it. It was so worth going over there. It was so worth the drive. It was what do they call it? The Cherry Max, I think is what it's called, because it's in the Cherryland, whatever. It was a brand new theater. They serve alcohol there, which I'd never been in a theater that did that. That was kind of interesting.
I'm new to that as well, and it's so awesome. It's so adult.
It's very interesting. Like, this was very new. They had a lot of different foods you could get instead of just the normal like popcorn and candy. They had so much different stuff. And then they have all of those fancy Coke machines where I don't know how many flavors they have.
I don't like them.
A lot of people don't like them because it's too many choices.
I don't mind that, and it is, but like, it's not, they don't do it right. When I push cherry Coke and after I read the manual and I finally get to the cherry Coke screen and I fill it up with cherry Coke, I see Coke going in and I see this other squirt of like cherry juice squirting in, and it doesn't taste right. It doesn't taste like cherry Coke. It tastes like Coke that's had like maraschino cherries swimming in it all day, and then it left. I don't like that machine.
Yeah. It's the way that they wanted us to get one for the deli on a small scale, that it would only have like 72 flavors. But yeah, they use the same they use the same flavoring stuff for all of the pops. My sister actually took a picture of one of those and how dirty. You'll never use one again after you. Yes,
because you're supposed to clean those lines out.
Yeah, the lines don't get cleaned. The nozzles don't get cleaned. Like, we have a fountain machine at the deli. We have to clean the nozzles every day. You have to take it all apart every day, clean everything. They don't do that on those machines.
I watched Bar Rescue. You got to clean that thing every day.
Every day.
Yeah. I bet they don't. Yes, I don't like those machines at the theater, but our theater did get alcohol and pizza, and you order it and then they bring it to you.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
What a concept, right?
Yeah, it's so cool.
It makes sense. It makes for a better experience. I mean, it really does.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I feel like I was an adult.
Yeah, we don't have that here. We have one theater, and they closed it. We used to have 2. The one they closed was more comfortable and had better screens. I don't know why they closed that one. Our theaters got bought out by AMC. They used to be Carmike, and then they used to be something before that. And then AMC came in and bought them out. And then there was our theater is the State Theater, and it's got, you know how when you see old school downtowns and they have the old marquee where it's got the big light up words? Well, ours is a big light up word that says State above it. And it is actually an old live theater that they converted to a movie theater. When AMC bought it, there was this huge thing that they were going to take the marquee down and put AMC across the building, that old marquee was going to come down because it was too difficult for them to change the movies on it. They were going to turn the whole thing digital, take the marquee down, take the State Theater sign down, and no joke, people in our town rioted. There was petitions. There were people saying they would never go to the movies again.
Flaming cocktails are being thrown.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Like, I saw both sides of it. I understood why they wanted to take it down, but I also understood there are so many photos that are taken of that building because it's this old building from I think it's from like 1903 was when the building was built. One of the original buildings in downtown. Originally was a theater, so it has all of this, all this history behind it, and they were going to change it.
I love the marquees.
Yeah,
I really do.
I do too. I do. They ended up, because of the petition and because the people were rioting, they ended up changing their mind, and instead they upgraded all the lights to LED lighting, and they added a bunch of stuff to it to make it look nicer, because like half the lights were out and the lights were really hard to get because it was old neon lights. That's what it was.
Right, so with screw and bulbs and neon tubes.
Yep. So they went through and they upgraded they kept the thing that says state, and they upgraded all to all LED lighting. So now it looks nice and cool, and I guess it's better.
But you get all the Blockbuster videos coming to your town, right? Like you get all the movies?
No. No, we don't get most movies. That movie, A Dog's Purpose, hasn't showed up in Alpena yet.
But you're going to get things like the new Avengers or like,
sometimes.
Oh, really? It's like that? You are deprived of like Blockbuster hits at your local theater?
Yeah, they're very picky on what they show here and what they don't show here. And sometimes we'll get movies, the big hit movies will come in and they'll only be here for like 2 weeks. And then they take them out and put in whatever the other big hit movie was. Sometimes. But sometimes there's stuff that we see previews for that never show up here.
Oh, that's at least in my janky town. At least we get all that. What's your theater? You make it sound like you guys have a sheet in a room and just a little projector, and it's just playing like whatever junk it wants to.
It's bad. The screen is tiny. It's bad, and the seats don't have cup holders.
Really? They don't have cup holders?
No, they don't have cup holders.
How do you do with that? Where do you put your drink? Like in between your legs?
Yep, you set everything on the floor and then hope you don't spill it all.
Oh yeah, the sticky floor.
Yep, pretty much.
Well, I was going to ask you about upcoming movies that you were excited for that were coming to the movie theater, but it looks like you don't even have an option to go see it if you wanted to.
Nope. I always, when I see like previews for movies on TV or things like that, which I don't watch a lot of TV, or if I see them like before a YouTube video, which I have YouTube Premium, so I don't see ads on videos. But if I see people talking about a movie that's up and coming, I add it to my Netflix list because I still get DVDs shipped to my house.
Wow, they still offer that service?
Yeah. And the reason I still do it is because I pay, it's like we can get whatever it is. I think it's like $8 and we get unlimited. So we get a DVD, we can send one back, we can get another one. And it's like $8 a month, which is way cheaper than a movie ticket. And we actually have a genuine air popper. Jamie makes the best popcorn. We bought movie theater popcorn butter that comes in like, I'm not kidding, it comes in a gallon jug, but it's the same stuff they use at the movie theater. You can get it on Amazon. So we bought that, and then we actually have the actual seasoning they use at movie theaters. You can also buy on Amazon. So we bought that. So Jamie, and we have a movie theater bucket that we got the last time we went to the movie theater. So Jamie will make us real movie theater popcorn, and it tastes just like we went to the movies. And that's what we'll do to watch movies.
What's the secret to good popcorn? Like what makes his popcorn better?
Knowing what to buy to put on it. Because a lot of people will make air popped popcorn and they'll like melt butter and put it on it. That doesn't work. But it does. It's not like the movie theater. You have to buy the movie theater butter is more like an oil. It's a butter, but it's an oil. It's really weird. I'm sure it's horrible for you because it's like orange in color, but it's not just that matters. There's an actual seasoning that they put on popcorn in the movie theaters, and I'll have to find it and tell you what it is. I have it in the cabinet upstairs, but that's what makes the difference, is knowing the ratio of that movie theater butter plus that seasoning.
Interesting. I think at some point we need a little mini video or a little mini walkthrough
on how to make
perfect popcorn. Yeah, how to make perfect movie popcorn from Jess.
I also only buy red popcorn.
What does that mean? Elaborate.
So a lot of popcorn kernels are yellow. Most people get yellow popcorn. You go like you see the...
I've never seen another color.
Yeah, we buy red, and we buy it from a company here in Michigan called Burr Oaks, and it's red popcorn kernels. Red, the corn that it comes from makes a more tender piece of popcorn instead of like chewy. The yellow popcorn, when you pop it in the air popper, is kind of like it's like a chewier consistency. The red is more, I don't know, it just tastes better. I don't know how to explain it.
It just tastes better.
It's not chewy. You don't ever feel like you're like, oh, that wasn't really good. It's lighter, smaller. It's not these huge pieces of popcorn. They're smaller, and they just have a better flavor. A lot of people I know thought I was crazy until I bought people it for Christmas. Like I bought it for my brother and I bought it for my mom and dad. My mom said the same thing. She's like, that's the best popcorn I ever had. Even with nothing on it, it tastes better.
Oh, I've never heard of red popcorn.
I'm going to have to put together a Michigan crate to send to you and Crystal with some popcorn.
Yeah, I don't know how to pop them. Do I just put them on? I can just put them on the stove and then like cook them and like I'll just
You can put it on the stove and cook it in oil, or you can do it in a paper bag in the microwave.
Oh, okay.
You can do that as well, but air poppers are the best. We have a 1978 air popper that still works.
Oh, I can see it in my head. Is it got that yellow top to it? It's got that beige base. Yep.
Makes the best popcorn ever. I bought a new air popper, like one of the modern ones. It just does not work as well.
Yeah, I heard that's the same thing with the Easy Bake ovens from the childhood. I heard the new Easy Bake ovens suck compared to the old Easy Bake ovens.
They probably use LED lights now.
Right.
It's like, we need a light bulb to get hot.
Did you ever own one of those?
An Easy Bake oven? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I burn things in that just like I burn things in a real oven? Yes.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was horrible with that stuff. I don't have patience.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening. You can listen to us every Wednesday on your favorite podcast app. You can ask us questions on the questions thread on our Facebook page at Country Mouse City Mouse Podcast. You can also find us on the Instagram at CC Mouse Podcast. So we will see you next week. Same mouse time, same mouse podcast.
Bye.
We did it. We did a thing.
Yay.